Hello and welcome to this lesson on Azure Policy. With Azure Policy, we can enforce organizational standards and assess compliance at scale. The result of policy evaluations are displayed in an easy-to-read dashboard and can be downloaded as a report. In addition to reporting and dashboards, we can also take automatic actions. For instance, we can deny the creation of certain resources and also modify resource creation requests to add certain tags or security features to the resource. We assign an Azure policy to a management group, subscription, or resource group. We cannot assign an Azure policy to an individual resource. To roll out new Azure policies, we can use what is called the what-if mode. We enable this what-if mode by setting the enforcement mode to disabled. This way, only a log entry will be generated, but the policy will not otherwise be enforced. Besides individual policies, we also have initiatives, which are collections of policies. These are used for making assignments easier and also for implementing benchmarks. Popular security benchmarks include SIS and NIST, and Azure has customized some of these popular benchmarks to its Azure platform, and these are all available as policy initiatives. Now that we talked about concepts, let's consider some implementation aspects which are also relevant for the exam. Besides crafting and assigning policies, we also have to enable policy evaluation by registering the corresponding resource provider. In this case, the resource provider is Microsoft.PolicyInsights. Policy evaluation then happens on certain life cycle events, but can also be triggered manually. The command for a manual trigger is az policy state trigger scan. Policy evaluation will then take place within approximately 3 minutes. Generally speaking, policy evaluation does not happen immediately, but roughly according to the table that I provide for illustrative purposes only. Okay, now let's have a look at the policy structure. Here we see the JSON structure of a policy. Notice the policy rule. It contains an if block and a then block. The then block contains an effect property. This effect property determines how we react to policy violation. Here's an illustrative table of possible values for the effect property. When we just want to write an entry to the activity log, we would use the audit effect. When we want to check for the non-existence of a certain feature in a resource request, we would use the audit if not exists effect. Instead of blocking the creation, we could also take remediative actions such as deploying or enabling certain security features. We can use the deploy if not exists and the modify effect. When we want to prevent the creation of resources, for instance due to regulatory or financial constraints, we could use the deny effect. In the following example, we use the modify effect to copy text from the resource group to the actual resource. In Azure, resource tags are not inherited, but at least we can copy them to the resource this way. In the second example, we only write an entry to the activity log without denying the resource creation. And we do this when certain VM extensions are not present. We see that with Azure Policy, we can implement a vast amount of governance aspects to satisfy regulatory, compliance, and financial concerns. Okay, so that's it for this lesson on Azure Policy. Let's continue to the next one. Bye bye.